Pâte de fruits. Pardon my French, despite studying in a French culinary school, my pronunciation is far from ideal. What I'm trying to say is a pâte de fruits. It's a classic French confection, bright, intensely flavored fruit jellies coated in a sparkling sugar crystals. The texture is incredibly soft, elastic and clean thanks to yellow pectin. It's nice and like a rubbery firm texture you get from the gelatin. Today I'll show you how to make it at home using frozen berries from the supermarket. You can use this recipe in two ways. First, as a classic raspberry pâte de fruits. Pour the cooked mixture into a small frame so the final thickness is about 2 centimeters. Once fully set, cut into cubes, coat generously in a caster sugar and store in an airtight container. Second, you can use it as a jam layer for wagon wheels. For that, follow the recipe exactly, but pour it into a thin, even layer, about 4 to 5 millimeters. I like this thickness because you can really taste the jelly. And if you want a shortcut for wagon wheels, just use a good quality raspberry jam. It won't be identical, but it works. Now let's move into the process. This is a classic recipe, so precision matters. Measure everything accurately using a drug scale for the pectin and acids. Guesswork will ruin the texture. I'm using raspberries that I simply defrosted, either overnight in the fridge or quickly in the microwave. For this recipe I prefer to remove the seeds because the mixture cooks for a longer time and becomes quite thick. The seeds tend to stick to the bottom of the pan and burn. Raspberry liqueur, really optional. I just have this very strong confectionery style liqueur that adds a deeper raspberry note. Sugar, just the regular granulated sugar is perfect. Glucose syrup helps control sugar crystallization. Yellow pectin needs to be mixed with a little of sugar first because the particles are extremely fine and will clump if added on their own. And finally, the citric acid solution, equal parts of citric acid and water. So start by combining the yellow pectin with a small portion of the sugar. I will put them separately in the recipe so you're not confused what amount of sugar you need to mix with the pectin. And set it aside. Next, dissolve citric acid in the water and set it aside as well. We will add this at the very end to control the final gel structure. Pour the raspberry liqueur to the raspberry puree into a saucepan. Begin heating. Bring it up to 50 degrees Celsius or 122 degrees Fahrenheit. At this temperature, gradually whisk in the sugar pectin mixture. Yellow pectin hydrates best around 50 degrees Celsius. Too cold and it forms lumps, too hot and it activates early and loses strength. And bring the mixture to a brief boil. Make sure that your thermometer sits in the middle of the mixture, not at the bottom, otherwise it will show you higher temperature. Now comes the critical steps. Add the remaining sugar in the 3 to 4 additions. After each addition, make sure the temperature does not drop below 85 degrees Celsius or 185 degrees Fahrenheit. Below 85 degrees Celsius, yellow pectin starts to gel permanently. You will see the thick strands forming on the whisk and a grainy, uneven texture. If that happens, the final jelly won't have the clarity or elasticity we want. Continue adding the sugar gradually, then add the glucose syrup. To make the glucose syrup more runny, you can put it in a microwave for 10 to 15 seconds. Mix thoroughly and keep cooking. Cook the mixture until it reaches 106-107 degrees Celsius or 223 to 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it hits that temperature, remove it from the heat, immediately add the citric acid solution and mix well. That will lower the pH, activate the final set and sharpen the raspberry flavor. pour the mixture into a 33 by 33 cm silicone mat with borders or into a metal frame.